I am Scott Allen Miller. This is Sheepguarding Llama. It is the 30th of March, 2021, and you can't tell from looking, but I'm actually in Norcross, Georgia. So today was my really busy day of the trip. It turns out it was the only day I really needed to be here. It was good that I was here more, because today would have been frantic if we thought we didn't have any extra time. But really, the trip only needed to be one day, as it turned out. But today was a really good day. Got picked up at my hotel first thing in the morning, like 7 o'clock. We managed to go into the office and just worked like crazy the entire day. We went out for lunch, went to Zapata, which is a place I've been to in the past with some friends. Really like it. Got fish tacos there, which I really like their fish tacos. They're not like the best ever, but they're unique. It's like a different style, and it's quite enjoyable. So we did that, got to hang out a bit, worked all evening, and then we were meeting up with some people for dinner at a place called Lazy Dog, which was really cool. So we went, we worked actually pretty late, longer than we wanted to, because there's just a lot we wanted to get done. And then we drove out to Lazy Dog, got some drinks early, and then people joined us, and we had dinner, had a really nice dinner there, and hung out fairly late, probably until about 8 or 9. And it was a nice evening. It was all very, very nice. And then I just got dropped back at my hotel, where I spent a little bit of time, something crawling on the roof of that house, making that screaming sound, and just hung out for a couple hours in the hotel. Nowhere to go. I wanted to go get a drink in the hotel bar. Turns out they have closed all that stuff. Hilton is now threatening to never reopen their bars or restaurants or any amenities in their hotels again, which seems crazy, because why would you choose their higher end hotels if they take away all the amenities? It doesn't really make sense. And I'm a pretty serious user of Hilton. I'm not like platinum or anything, but I maintain a silver status for, I don't know, a decade. I always choose them, and it immediately makes me say, well, I bet the Hyatt's open, right? So it's a strange thing for them to have decided to potentially push their core clientele away. I mean, during COVID, of course it's closed, but they're saying, no, we kind of like how it operated with all the amenities shut down during COVID, because the profit margins are better, which I get, but if you lose your customers, I don't know, we'll see. But it seems absolutely crazy to me, because if they're not going to have restaurants and bars and stuff in their hotel, I will pay more to be at a Hilton or a Marriott. Anyway, so that was my day. What was really interesting beyond that stuff, like everything went well, it was a really good day. But we had to spend a bit of time at the office today, and this is an office that was a much larger company. We've been working there for many years, and of the people that are still there, especially that were there today, I've been around years longer than anyone else. So there's a lot of I have this history and I have this insight into things that they don't. They don't know how we got to where we are so much. So that's very interesting. But this is a big office that now has nobody in it, has had no one in it for over a year, and no one's ever returning to it. So we have an office that is completely full of furniture, desks, monitors, computers, phones, you name it. Everything from a full working good-sized company is now all moved down to the basement. I mean, everything. Servers that aren't being used, disks, all kinds of stuff. So we just started walking through and started shopping at and I mean, this is the CEO, this is the CIO and the CTO, right? We're the C-suite pretty much, without the CFO. And we're just walking around this place being like, well, here's a laptop. Who wants this laptop? Oh, Adele, that's for you. Oh, I've got this brand new Acer. That's for you. This one, I'll take it. Right? It's just what fits in our bags. It was kind of weird, but it's like, who else is going to use it? If we don't take it, it's going to be thrown away. It's worthless, because they have no one to send it to. Everybody who wants something already has it. I'm like, okay, here's a sea of phones. Pick every person who's working from home, send them one of these. I don't care if they have a need for it or not. We've already paid for it. Send it out there. Let's try to get some use out of the things we have, because here they're just rotting away. And pretty soon, we're going to close down that office and have to dispose of all that stuff. So we're trying to figure out answers to all that as well, right? So that was really interesting, kind of getting to go through the remains of a company. And the same thing happened in a way in New York a few years ago when NTG shut down the New York offices and moved everything to Texas, finally, there was, everything got, delivered over to Dad's farm and stored in the barn. That's what I was stored. That's what I was trying to look for. In the barn. And so we actually had a bit of time that we had to go through all the remnants of the company, right? Servers, laptops, desktops, office equipment, discs, printers, like just so much stuff. And we were a much smaller company at that time. Now we're bigger. But the amount of equipment that was just like abandoned, right? Here's a tablet. A lot of it's old, right? A lot of it's just antiques. No one cares. There's a reason why I went into a barn. But it's weird picking through the remains of a business, right? Because there's history, and it's the kind of stuff that you always feel awkward, right? And this happened days later. We did in the future at the same company. We had to go through and get more stuff for people, and there's some like really nice expensive stuff, like automated sit-stand desks and stuff, big monitors. And we went through there, and I'm with the CTO, and I'm like, "Oh, here, you need a monitor at home? Here's 2. Take them." He's like, "Can I really just take that?" And I'm like, "Of course. Whose are these but ours?" Right? We're the people who run this company, but because we're all kind of new, or like me, I'm in from out of town, or you begin to forget that there's nobody else who has this equipment, and we all work from home. So it feels weird being like, well, I'm going to take a monitor and work from home. And of course I was getting on a plane. I couldn't take anything, but these guys who were there, I'm like, take it. You need a desk, take the desk. You need a monitor, take the monitor, because otherwise we're going to throw it away. But if you take it, it's useful. It feels so strange because, back in the old day, if you went through someone's office, first of all, because we're all new and the company has kind of reinvented itself now because of COVID, we forget that we're running this company and that this isn't a different company than the one we work at during the day, right? So there's that feeling. But then you never have like an abandoned office full of completely usable things from just a few months before where you could actually just take it. So the combination of things made it really feel weird, but absolutely all the people, the CEO of the company is like, yeah, take whatever you want. Just go. Fill it in your car. You want me to carry it out for you? Right? Because otherwise we're throwing it away. So that was just a really weird experience, but really interesting because you're like going through the belly of the company and there's so much history and, people put so much time into where they work. It's got a lot of nostalgia to it. And it was that was an interesting experience and a lot of fun because it's not something most people get to do ever in a career, let alone multiple times. I guess working in IT, you tend to be kind of the people who are often there to turn off the lights, or we are the keepers of the keys and the last ones to leave and the first ones back kind of thing. And so in this case, we're kind of the first ones back, having been the ones who were the last ones out with the keys and had a chance to kind of shut down the old company and start the new, even though it's the same company. It was just a really, really interesting experience and something that I appreciate in my career. And I got to do the same kind of thing, when I was at IBM, because I was at IBM Facility 1, the original Endicott plant, when that really got shut down. And Andy and I, we were the last ones out, right? Not the absolute last ones, but for the entire engineering team, we were the last ones. We were there for weeks after everybody else left. The whole place was empty. You could walk anywhere, and it felt weird. Can I just walk through this empty office area? Well, of course. We're the only engineers. It doesn't belong to anyone else. It's not someone else's space. You want to use that chair over there? You can use that chair. It's not assigned to someone, right? You want to use this desk? You want to spread out? You want to, put whiteboards in the middle of the hallway? It doesn't matter, right? It's there. All of that infrastructure is there to help you work. If it somehow helps you work, do anything you want, right? But we're so used to these rigid rules, and it probably comes from school, right? Nope, you got to follow the rules. It doesn't matter. If it's not good for anything else, you can't use it, right? It's because it doesn't belong to you. But when you get to a business, right? If you're helping that's there for you. That's why it exists. Why did we send you into the office? So that you had access to these things, right? It's just interesting. So anyway, that was my interesting Tuesday in Atlanta. I will be heading home Thursday night. All right. I'll see everybody tomorrow.